So, welcome back to the Awaken Your Feminine Power Immersion. I'm so excited to share the magic with you of Sophie, Josephina. Maybe you've seen our podcast interview, and I really adore you and I love the work that you're sharing and just your presence. And when I think about you, the word that come into my mind, I mean, of course, Sky Daddy. I always have the connection to Sky Daddy with you, but also really truth and embodiment. So when I think about you, I can feel this raw, true expression of who you are from your soul. And I
Hmm.
love that about you. And the workshop you're sharing today is called From Feminine Shadow to Feminine Power. And yeah, the stage is all yours. I'm so happy to have you here.
Thank you, Tanya, for having me here. I feel really, really honored. Um, I'd love to feel the group first. So I'm really curious. I know you've had a few talks already, right? I'm like kind of halfway. I'm really curious what has been landing for you all. So share something in the chat. What's been like a light bulb? What's something that, or maybe something really yummy you experienced? What's been coming up? I'm super curious. Please share something in the chat. What's been coming up in this beautiful summit? And it can just be a small light bulb or something really juicy. That our purpose is simply to live as ourselves. That's the magic. Ooh, yeah. How beautiful is that? I always think that the purpose for purpose is such a beautiful word, but purpose, especially for a feminine body, is really how we give our love to the world. How do we want to share our love with the world? It's not so much about doing something or creating something, but it's like, how do I want to share my love? Because it's my love that I want to bring. Yeah. This is actually the first one I get to watch. Well, really, really uh, excited you're here. Being brave. Enjoyed the talk about being brave this morning. That our intuition knows everything and not our conscious mind. What being brave can mean. Yeah. This is my first session, but I resonate a lot with your archetypes and the shadow expression of them. So I'm here to find how to transform them. Oh, you're in for a little treat. Okay, so it's really nice to feel you and to feel what's alive in your world. If you've never been in one of my workshops before, there's a few things that I really care about. So I call them my house rules, and this is where I put in my little bit of masculine structure and masculine guidance. But the most important thing is that, especially when we get into polarity work, there's a lot, I'm going to say a lot of things quickly, and they might really activate you. And especially when we talk about polarity, it's easy to get lost in the mind to think, oh, but what does feminine mean then? And what does that mean how I do that? And how do I implement that in my daily life? And is that true? And how do I think that's true? I invite you to go listen with your body. So I usually like to think of my workshops as kind of this lightly hypnotic journey where little things will be like little light bulbs where you get to remember something. So I invite you to watch for the energy. So if there's something that I say that just makes you feel like, whoa, what did she just say? Write it down. And that can be that you really agree with me or that you really think, what did she just say? This you write down too. So my second point that's really important when you're in my space is I don't need you to agree with me. I don't need you to agree with me, especially in the polarity world. I am not here to teach you another dogma or another thing of what you need to be or what it should be like. I know one thing with polarity, you'll feel in your body what's true for you. So I might say something like the feminine is her power is in her surrender. And you think, fuck no, that's not true at all. This is great. I celebrate this so deeply because I care more that you find your own truth than if you agree with me. Okay? I love seeing you. I love also when you just play with your video on or off. So one thing that I love encouraging the feminine in is to embrace your yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. So I don't know if you've maybe this is the first time you hear that, but one thing the feminine is really great at is yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. Might feel great 1 second, not so great the next, then you want it again, then you don't want it again. And one thing where you really can beautifully practice that is with your video in a workshop. So you might think, oh, now I want on, ooh, I want off again, now I want on again. So come and play with that with me. There's nothing you need to be here. There's nothing you need to do other than feeling the truth of what your heart desires in this moment. And it gets to change every second. Yeah. So the last thing is you get to be here as you are. I see somebody on the couch. I see somebody, I think, in a bed, which all makes me very happy. If you're in a bathtub upside down, I don't care. Kids screaming in the background. You're welcome here as you are. Okay. Those are my little tiny structures. What we're going to do today is I'm going to give you a list of pretty much my top 5 feminine shadows. And I love talking about feminine shadows, and I'll tell you a lot more about that in a second. But if we have some space for Q&A, then we'll have a bit of a Q&A at the end, but let's see how much time we have. I love feeling you, so I'm ready to see some of you replying in the chat, but feel free to give me this an I love you sign in sign language. There's an I, an L, and a U somewhere in there. You can always flash me an I love you sign if you think, oh yeah, fuck, I'm feeling that. I love feeling it. This is my inner masculine that's like, come. I love seeing how you are receiving things. Okay, all that out of the way. Some of you might be really new to me. So my name is Sophie Josephina, and I am an ex-data scientist turned polarity teacher. So my background is actually in data science in the corporate world. I was joking, I'm going to say this a little bit jokingly, but the ultimate strong, independent woman. I was everything the feminists wanted me to be. I was successful. I was taking care of myself, had a really good career. I was wearing dresses and high heels, and I was the life of the party. And, you know, I had the top of my career at 25, and then I burned out completely because I couldn't handle it. And I didn't get it. I was like, why is this dream life something that I cannot sustain? And what I realized in my journey there, I eventually spent more than 2 years in bed with a very, very bad burnout. I realized there that what I taught was being woman or being feminine wasn't something that I could handle. Remember how I spoke about go find your own truth? If I tell you something in your body goes, hell no, that's not true. This was my moment because all these things that I was taught wasn't something I could actually do. And so I was actually raised in Tantra. So I went back to my Tantric roots and I learned about masculine and feminine and realized that feminine was something completely different than what I had learned. And so feminine was actually about not going to the IKEA by yourself. It was about when somebody gives me a compliment to actually let it in. It was about crying at a sunset. It was about, I see somebody moving their body. It was about moving my body instead of thinking through everything. It was about the world of things that don't make sense. And so it dismantled completely who I thought I was and what I thought I should be. And this journey has changed everything for me, where life feels very different now. And so I'm now a polarity teacher. I've been working for the past 2-3 years, and I work with masculine and feminine energies, obviously. I do that in relationship. So we are magnets. So the feminine energy that I put out will attract the masculine energy of somebody else. I do that inside of ourselves, which we'll have a little hint at today because we have an inner polarity. We have an inner, I call it the inner dude, which I love. I see somebody smiling. Yeah. So the inner dude is this inner masculine energy that helps me structure my day, helps me get my shit done, helps me feel my boundaries, helps me lead something, you know? We all have that. So we all have these energies within ourselves. I work with masculine and feminine in our relationship to money, our relationship to our business, but also in our relationship to God, which I like to call Sky Daddy. So that's a little bit of what I do. I just want to check, can you let me know in the chat, for whom is masculine and feminine a totally new topic? You're like, I have no idea what you're talking about. Okay, so there's one person here. Okay, we're gonna make sure you have an idea. So let me know in the chat, what do you think is feminine energy? Let me know in the chat. Yeah, you don't get to hide here as much. What is feminine energy? You might have an association, you might not. Receptivity, I love that one. That's great. What else is feminine? Very open, excitable, intuition. Yeah, soft, surrender, flow. I love all of these. Love, flow, chaos, cyclical. Yeah, flowing, trusting the flow of life. I love these. I feel these in my body. Powerful. So the way I see feminine energy, which again, you're more than welcome to not agree with, I I I feel feminine energy as literally how we take in, right? If you think about sex, how do we take in something? It is how we take in life. How are we receiving life? How are we experiencing life? How are we being moved by life? All of that to me feels like feminine energy. So that means if feminine energy is about how I let things in, it's really about the body. It's about how does it feel when I look at the sunset? How does it feel when somebody gives me a compliment? It's about the heart. It's about being in the moment. It's cyclical. It's all of these things. So for me, that's feminine energy. Okay, so what is masculine energy to you? How does masculine energy to you feel? Let me know in the chat. Structure, yeah. Truth, I love that one. Powerful. What else? Direction, structure, action, doing. Yeah. Control, safety. Yeah. Straight, focus, uplifting, giving. I love all of these. Yeah. Listening. So the masculine energy, the way I work with it is, if the feminine is how we let in the world, the masculine energy is how we go into the world, right? How do we penetrate it? How do we hold space for it? It is really this direction into how do I bring myself into the world? What structures do I need to do that? All of that is masculine. So masculine is indeed about these beautiful things as thought and focus and discernment and structure. But let me give you the most important distinction that I think matters when we work with masculine and feminine energy, because the whole thing, the idea with polarity is that these things always exist together. So the more I bring feminine energy to my relationship, the more it activates my man's masculine energy. And that can change all the time, right? It can be that it's not binary, it's a scale. It might be that it flips. That's all okay. But we have kind of a magnet where we will create the opposite of that in our life. The most important thing I want you to know about masculine energy is that we often think that the masculine is about leading, when actually the masculine in my book is way more about structure and kind of keeping the overview. I'm going to tell you why that matters, because one of the feminine shadows is often that we think, oh, he isn't leading me, he isn't leading me, when it's really hard to always be the leading one. The energy that's actually underneath it is an energy of structure. So my man structures the world for me, and I'm going to give you a real life example because that will make it a bit easier to understand. Who here knows the famous example of your lover asking you, what do you want to have for dinner tonight? And that, as a feminine, you think, oh, I have no idea. And I'm even annoyed that you're asking me. Like, I have just no idea. Raise your hand if you recognize that. That it's even a little bit annoying that, oh my God, did you ask me that? I have no idea. This is very much the feminine. If you just ask her, what do you want for dinner? She's like, oh, fuck it, I have no idea. Of course, he could lead me and say, I'm going to take you out for Thai. That is sexy, but I don't want that every night, right? I don't want that every night. What he can do is he can say, I see you, Sophie, you're in a cozy mood. Do you want to go for like fondue or do you want to go for pizza? This is the structuring. And now all of a sudden I can feel something. And it's like, fondue or pizza? Actually, I want fondue. And so I tell him, like, I want fondue. Okay, let me go arrange that. This is actually masculine energy. The masculine energy comes from hearing what lights her up. It is a service to what her fuck yes is. And he helps structure the world so she can feel that deeper. So masculine and feminine is not so much about a man going, I'm going to take you out for pizza and put on that black dress. And she goes, okay. It can be, it doesn't have to be, but it's actually way more this dance of her feeling herself deeper of what excites her and him creating a structure for her to do that. So this works the same for our inner dude, for a lot of things in our life. So just a little side note on masculine and feminine energy. Okay. So I was dropping in today's topic on feminine power, and I was reflecting on what feminine power meant to me, and I'm somebody who loves talking about feminine shadows. Why? Because we all have them. I love what happens when we just get to be transparent about all our messy bits. And it's freeing. It's freeing when we don't have to be good girls all the time. It's freeing when we don't need to be perfect. It's freeing when we realize that the stuff we do, everybody does. So as I was reflecting on feminine power, I was like, oh yeah, in my journey, my own journey in my spiritual development and kind of like the personal development world and all of that, I realized there were so many things that I learned were powerful that actually never really felt like that. Just like the boss babe thing, right? The boss babe makes you feel incredibly powerful. But if I reflect back on it, I actually felt exhausted and tired and in my masculine all day. And I realized like especially when like a few, like maybe 6-7 years ago when I was starting my this whole journey, there were so many things where yeah, I was taught by beautiful people something that they thought was powerful, but I felt more separation, I felt more exhaustion, I felt more this and more that. So let me give you a few examples of that. So one is the boss babe movement. So who here recognizes has had a moment in their life where they thought, okay, if I'm just going to be the boss babe CEO thing, then I'm going to be powerful. Yeah. Right? And we all try it for a long time often, and then we're like, why am I so tired? I don't get why I'm so tired. Yeah. Because it's actually a chronic masculine state. There's nothing wrong with that, but if we're only that, we get so tired. The other one is the goddess movement, what I like to call that. And she says things like, oh, go be a goddess and go find a man that treats you like a queen. But feel into a mature masculine man. He doesn't want to go towards a woman where he has to like treat her like a queen. That's not an opening for him to step into. Can you feel that a little bit? So the goddess movement, that I spent a few years in that. I was like, why am I not attracting my king? I don't get it. Why am I not attracting my king? But it's because I was doing this like, I'm really big and now go meet me there. Which is actually almost a masculine energy in itself. Who recognizes the goddess one? Maybe less so. Yeah, Tanya, a little bit. Yeah. The other one was the manifestation things, where I was taught that I was completely responsible for everything around me. And that was my power. I was powerful because everything around me was a reflection of me. Well, I'll tell you, I became incredibly what's the word? Hyper vigilant on myself. I was like, oh, if I think thoughts of lack, I'm going to attract lack. Oh, if I don't vision board well, I'm not going to attract my next man. If I already feel my whole body in anxiety because I was doing this like constant monitoring so that I was a good girl, because then life would maybe give me good things because I'm responsible for everything. Which again is not a place of softness or something that I could sustain. Who recognizes that one? Big time, right? Yeah. It's like overly responsible for yourself, for everything in your life. And again, this is where we get to check our own truth, Because if it's something that you can't sustain, that makes you feel exhausted or depleted or judgmental, it can't be the right thing. It can't be the right thing. Then the need. Okay, so I'm gonna give you one last one. The another one which I struggle with, which is this whole world about needs and boundaries and communication and all of that. And then I was in a real relationship, and you can't give each other a list of needs and boundaries and expect them to be it. And it was another place where I thought, if I'm just going to be so powerful because I'm going to tell them what my needs and my boundaries are. But then it's a human to a human that can't be that for you all the time. And then what? What do you do when they're human and you're human? And so there were all these things where I went into it thinking, yeah, the pressure, exactly. I went into it thinking, okay, if I do this, I'm going to be a Beyonce, you know, I'm going to be powerful, I'm going to be strong, I'm going to stand up for myself. And somehow I wasn't attracting the kind of love I desired. I was exhausted, I was tired, I didn't like myself. And it wasn't power. It was more separation, separation from my heart, separation from my beloved, separation from so many things. And so something else needed to be true. Yeah. The pressure, yeah. Let me know what else. What is it that bringing up all these talks? Is that, are you like, okay, yeah, I recognize my desire for powers or for feeling more powerful and actually creating the opposite? Let me know what's coming up in you as we're talking about these things. Okay. So here's where I found my power. I found my power in the masculine because, and this might be already a bit activating or maybe even a bit triggering to hear, if I fully love and hold the feminine sacred and I desire to go into union, I also get to hold him sacred. And I now live my life led by him. So the things he desires and that light him up, I trust that that's what's leading me home. So if the masculine is lit up by my heart, I'm going to trust that guidance. And so we're going to go a bit deeper into that. I'm just hearing this. Hearing all of these again are just sounding like somebody else's expectations, not authentically me. Exactly. 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 Are there such expectations for men too? Yes. Oh, yes. Men are incredibly feeling like they're overly responsible for the life they're creating. And if they're just consistent, they will get everything they desire. They just need to own it and face it. It's a harsh world. It's a harsh world. So when I get to trust that the masculine is my path home to my feminine power and my feminine heart, um, what does that mean? Okay. I would love to fill you in the chat. What is your deepest desire with the masculine? What are you most longing for? And feel for something that's deep, because it's easy to just go, oh, more presence. Feel something that's really real and deep in you. For him to say, I want you. That's a beautiful one. Balance within myself. Yeah. What do you desire from the masculine or with the masculine? To be seen. Yeah. To be seen, understood, and appreciated, but not projected upon. That's a beautiful one. Feeling loved, to be held and to feel safe, to let him in, to let down my anger about him. Yeah. Balance, be seen and held. Companionship, there are all my phases, changing interests. Yeah, that's a really nice one, actually. Yeah. So I invite you to just close your eyes and to feel your desire again for the masculine. And to feel that there's a way to be with this desire where you think, oh, I'm not getting this. I should be getting this. Oh, he's not giving me that. Oh, he isn't that for me. Oh, I don't have this in my life. Kind of this giving, getting feeling. We call this stage 1. And there's nothing wrong with that. We all have that. So just feel that in your body just for a moment, just as a practice. The way to be with these desires of the masculine where we think, oh, I should be getting, I should be getting, I should be getting. I'm not getting. He's not giving me that. Or he is, or not enough. Just take a moment to breathe wherever you feel that in your body. Then I invite you to take another breath. And on the exhale, feel as if you can soften the walls of your heart. I feel as if this desire for more of him becomes more of a revealing rather than trying to get something. So it becomes more of a vulnerable share of like, oh, I really desire for him to be present with me. Oof, I really desire that. So it's almost the ache underneath the getting. Feeling for that ache underneath it. Then on another exhale, again, softening the walls of your heart. Feeling for this ache underneath it. And as if you were showing that to a masculine in front of you, let the ache pour out of your heart like a beautiful waterfall. And let it become an expression of, I long for you like this. Taking another breath here. Okay, and then slowly opening your eyes. Who felt something shift there? Yeah. So what we often do with our desire for the masculine is that we go into a I am getting, I'm not getting, he's not giving me that, or he isn't enough of that, right? We all do this. This is stage 1 that we all need to go through. And what we get to do is not a non-attachment of this desire. It is an opening through the desire. It is, instead of me telling my partner, I need you to be more present with me, because I desire more presence from you, and that's my deepest desire, more presence of you. It is more oh, it hurts. It hurts. All the times when all that presence that I long for isn't there yet. Oh, that hurts. It's more showing of the pain than a giving of the demand, if that makes sense. So I just wanted you to feel that for a brief moment. Okay, next one. What is your biggest resentment towards the masculine? And I want you to get honest, uncensored, unreasonable, whatever it is you desire. What is your biggest resentment? It doesn't even have to make sense. This can be really freeing to say out loud. So unreliable. Yeah. Ugh. What else? What is your biggest resentment towards the masculine? You get to be so free here. leaving too soon, ridiculing my phases. Yeah. What else? This honestly gets to be fun. Yeah, laziness. Yeah, honey. That I allow myself to disconnect from my body and live far too long in the doing, not allowing myself to feel deeply. Yeah, so lazy. Oof. Using me to feel better about themselves, just taking without giving. Ugh. Unreliable, not taking me serious. Low consciousness, not making me a top priority. Judgment. Who's having a good time sharing these? Keep them going. Yeah, it's nice, isn't it? What else? What are your resentments? Their ease, they have of acting being taking up space in the world. Yeah, that's fucking annoying. I get that. Yeah, what else? What's like your resentment? Easily slipping into addiction. Whew, not changing for me. Feeling unworthy as a female working in a man's world. Yeah, projecting all their shit onto me, manipulating. Ugh. So you might hear me do that. I invite you to do that too. Just do a little bit of a ugh. So you can do it off camera, but just give yourself like at least do it twice. Ugh. Oh, these men. Ugh. Oh, this shit I'm resentful about. Ugh. Yeah, yummy. Ugh. Demanding without giving. This is a feminine practice in itself, where we get to be with our resentments without it needing to make sense, without it needing to be reasonable, and it actually feeling joyful to give them all. Like, I'm just annoyed. Yeah. Being a little fuck boy, not taking a stand when other men are being dangerous. Yeah. Yeah. Here's the thing, I can't open you to more love to the masculine if we don't do this step, because it'll be a massive bypass. It is important to just feel the resentment. We're not talking about solve the resentment, feel the resentment, because we all have it. There are things you are annoyed at, and most of you, I think, will have felt a little bit of a, oh, it's really nice to talk about that. Yeah. So I'm going to check one last time. Is there anything else you are annoyed at that still needs to be said? One last thing. Boys getting more than me as a girl. Yeah. Fucking annoying. What else? Check if there's any last things. Yeah. Being like, that's just me. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I get that one. And they're not standing up for me. Yeah. Fuck yes. They're just kind of motherfuckers. Good. Yeah. These are places where we refine our feminine power when we give it permission to not make sense and be reasonable. And that doesn't mean that we go to them and say, you're a motherfucker. Might be something you need to do, but that's not exactly what this means. It is in our women's circles, it is in our community, in ourself, at least in ourself, a permission to, oh, I'm so annoyed at him right now. And to take that serious. Not hearing what I have to say, planning something big for show. That's completely not what I asked or needed. Yeah. Yum. Okay. Third question. What is the masculine's deepest desire with the feminine, do you think? What really lights him up? What's his deepest desire for you? What lights him up in you? Authenticity, my devotion. Yeah, what really lights him up? Maybe you've seen it happen, maybe you felt it. Connection, to feel me, seeing the best in him. Yeah. For me to have the space to really be myself and express self love, be a woman, seeing him. What else? What really lights him up? Feeling safer. Me feeling safe around him. Yeah, that's a great one. Trusting his vision, feeling sexy in my body. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the answers to this question are literally how I create the formula for my power. because I trust the masculine. I trust him. So the answer to this question are ways that he's leading me home, just like I'm leading him home. But these are ways that he is leading me home, and you're gonna see how this makes sense in a second. But things that he desires your heart. This is like the top of my, what should I call it? Top of my checklist almost of what I have with myself. Yeah. Okay. Now, my other favorite, like, yummy question. I want you to get deliciously honest one more time. And I want you to share your main pattern that you play out with the masculine. If there's something you get to own, there's so much I have to own too. There's something you can own. In the main patterns that play out between you and the masculine, what is that thing? And I want you to just get so honest because it's delicious to be honest in this. And I'll give you an example of myself of what has been playing out for me recently. I own that I'm really harsh. That I'm really harsh. And that I give him very little space to be anything else but perfect. And anything that isn't that, I'm critical. I'm very critical. I hold him to standards that are too high. Yeah. I own that I can be very controlling, diminishing my need to keep the peace. Yeah. What else? What do you own? What's a pattern? Knowing everything better. Yeah, this is a great one. Yeah, what else? Going from charming, for charming we're narcissistic guys and being codependent. Yeah. This is also an owning. Doing everything alone without asking and then being resentful about him not doing anything. Oh, I love this one. This is a great one. Yeah. Yeah, we're really good at this. Yeah. I own that I wish for him to love me unconditionally, but don't do that for myself often. That's a great one. I own that I expect a man to self reflect as deeply as I do and to then change really quickly, also as I do. Yeah. I think I use my words to manipulate him. Ah. I just take a moment to feel what it's like to write these things. I want you to just notice how it feels. So you might feel discomfort, you might feel freeing. You just take a little moment to tune into your body, what this is bringing up. How does it feel to write these things? And write that in the chat. How does that feel? Ugh. Yeah. Lots of emotions. Feels like they're coming to the surface. Yeah. Also breathing deeper, but also very teary. Yeah. Beautiful. It feels yuck to admit I feel hypocritical, relieving. Yeah. So, one last little movement. I'm going to invite you to close your eyes and to feel whatever it is that this is bringing up. So, it might be relief, it might be yuck, but just notice where that is in your body. So, I feel it in my solar plexus. And take a breath into that space as if you can make it bigger even with your breath. So, with your inhales, as if you create space around that sensation. On your exhales, if you expand it. You already heard me do it. On your next exhale, I invite you to make sound. Nobody can hear you. Just try it out. Make sound. What does this pain sound like? What does this sensation sound like? Do that one more time. Yeah. And place your hand on wherever you're feeling this in your body. And feel what it is that this space most needs to hear. So, what do you most need to hear right now? So, it might be, I'm safe, I'm okay, I'm not alone, I'm doing great. What is the one thing you really need to hear right now? And say that out loud to yourself. And then slowly open your eyes. This is how we just get to be with our stuff. A lot of people will come to my kind of workshops and say, okay, so how do I fix it? I'm like, this is the feminine. We just get to be with it, get to feel it. And that's pretty much often what we need to do. Okay, I'm going to give you, I'm aware of time, I'm going to give you the gold part, my top 5 feminine shadows and what the power is in them. I love talking about these because, as you've already sensed, it's freeing to talk about these things. So this is not a shit list. This is not a judgment list. This is not a way to beat yourself up list. This is a relieving list of, oh, I do that. Great. Now I know how to catch it. Because all of these things in this list are things that most of us have been taught are powerful or cool or, woman, whatever. And actually, they're creating more separation. Okay. So the first one, I'm going to give you a little story. Who here, I know it's a bit of a stereotypical story, who here knows the feeling where they sit next to their boo, their man, or a masculine driving? He's taking care of the car directions, which you really like, and then he takes the wrong exit. And you right away think, oh, fuck you, right? Screw you. Did you just get it wrong? Do I have to take care of it again? Who here recognizes some of that? Raise your hand. I only made these examples because I did them. Okay, good. Yeah. So, and I know when I did that, when I was in that car seat, I really thought, oh, I'm surrendering so well. I'm doing this great. He's taking care of the car directions. Yummy, delicious. Then I see him take the wrong exit. And then right away, I'm like, screw you. You dropped me. You're not taking care of us. This is conditional surrender. We often think we're in this beautiful, feminine, soft space and letting ourselves to being taken care of. And in the moment he doesn't do it the way we want it, we tighten up. We become resentful at him. And he goes, oh, screw you. Like everything is broken, right? Whereas you might think, oh, but I'm stamping up for the fact that I want to be taken care of. I'm going to give you another example in this, and this is a really good one. I was in Mallorca with Temer, with my boyfriend, a few weeks ago, and we were walking through Palma. And if you know Palma, Palma is very easy to get lost in. And I was tired, and we'd spent the whole day sightseeing. And it was after dinner, and we were strolling through this beautiful historical city on our way home. And I'd already decided, like I call this I'm spaghetti. I tell my boyfriend I'm spaghetti, which means I'm not making any decisions. It means I have no erectness. I need him to do it all. So I told him earlier, I was like, I'm spaghetti. He's like, great, yeah, I'll get us home. I'm like, oh yeah, delicious, thank you. And we're walking home and we're strolling through the city, and I realize I'd kind of figured out the route back to the hotel, and I realized he wasn't taking that route. And so I knew my own story of the car direction. I was like, okay, just wait, Sophie, just wait. And then I realized again, he takes another exit. That's the wrong way home. And then another one. And I'm like, oh, and I get so angry with him. And I'm like, oh, he just dropped me. And now I have to take care of it again. And blah, blah, blah. I did my whole own thing. And he looked at me and he was like, sweetheart, I wanted us to get lost. I wanted to stroll through the city with you. I wanted to get lost together in the city and just see what we would bump into. Now, what does that tell Me about me, it tells me that I'm doing a conditional surrender. I will surrender to him if he does it my way, but I'm not actually surrendering to what he would love to create for us, which might be a surprise. And so I'm telling you these stories because we have many, 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 many ways to do this. We say we want a man to lead us, to take care of us, to whatever, make the decisions for us, which is something I really much long for. And then when he doesn't do it the way we want it to, something kicks in. And so just to bring you some awareness. So who here recognizes some of that? It's like, okay, I do some of that. I see somebody sitting like this, which is really cute. Yeah. Yeah. So you're not alone. I've been doing this work for years and it kicks in all the time. This is a really deep practice of I'm going to surrender to him doing it his way. And that might be really scary to do sometimes. Okay. So that was my first one, conditional surrender. The second one is what I call from blame to pain. I'm sure everybody here knows the feeling of wanting to call out our lover, our men, our beloveds in something that they've been doing, right? Like, oh, you didn't show up for me there, or oh, you weren't this or you weren't that, like a way of sharing that you desire them to step up. Or maybe they said they were going to take out the trash and they didn't do that, and you want to say something about that. What very often happens is the feminine will bring some version of that and the masculine shuts down, and then she doesn't get why he's shutting down. It might be you didn't take out the trash, and he goes, ugh, screw you. And you don't understand what's happening. What the beautiful thing about this is that the masculine has an incredible radar on whether or not your heart is there. The moment your heart isn't there, he will shut down, because every masculine I know is incredibly sensitive to resentment, to blame, to attack. They are hyper vigilant to this. This is something we can judge. It is something we can also respect because it's actually calling us into our heart, because this is where we get to learn blame and pain. There's a way for me to share that it's annoying that he didn't take the trash out when he said he would. That is a blame, or that is me revealing my pain. And when it's me revealing my pain, it is often something that the masculine can receive. So let me give you an example. Trash example. The other way of looking at it is one is a spear. I call it a spear. It's like you did take out the trash, and the other one is almost has a wide. You can't call it any different, but has a wide component to it. So let me give you an example. Let's say I'm talking to my partner. He didn't take out the trash, and he said he would. I could say, "Oh, Timur, you said you were going to take out the trash, and you didn't. And that I had to do it again, and I'm really annoyed." The only response he can have is to be defensive. Truly, right? The only response he can have is to pull back from me. The other way that I could bring this is you said you were going to take out the trash and you didn't, and that hurt. And I felt really alone. And I felt taken for granted. And I miss you. Something different, right? Can you feel how that feels a bit different? Those two things. One, there's something of my heart and my own vulnerability in it. And the other one, there's only my finger pointing. This is where the masculine's very good at not receiving anything less than our heart. This is also a place where we can easily judge the masculine for not listening to us, when there's actually a power underneath it of, oh, I get to drop into my heart. Who recognizes something of this one? Yeah, a little bit. Okay. Number 3, we talked about this very briefly, but when we don't have an inner dude, we tend to outsource our outsource the masculine. And what I mean by that is to say the shadow in this is that I share about my day and I need him to hold me. And if he doesn't hold me, there's nothing else that holds me. I need him to be there for me. I need him to decide the dinner. This is another place where the masculine will always resist us because he knows when he is not free. He knows when he isn't free to do something. And this is his like the feminine has an oath almost to love. He is an oath to freedom. So the moment he feels something from you isn't free, he's going to resist it without him realizing why. Things like, I need you to hold me, or I had a shitty day and you need to be there for me. He's always going to resist it. First says, I had a shit day. I can hold myself. It would be really nice if you did, or I would love it if you did. And if you don't, it's going to be okay. I can take care of myself. This is an inner dude thing. Here's my feminine heart. Here's what I felt today. Or here's what I'm going through. Oh, you don't have space for this right now. That's okay. I've got something else. And this is truly where, when we don't have an inner dude, a lot of these shadows come out where we need him to be something for us. Who recognizes something of this? Let me know. Yeah? Yeah. Yeah. So this is where we get to watch the outsourcing of our inner masculine, where he has to be something versus whether it's an invitation for him to be something. For instance, my favorite invitation for polarity with Temur is that I will tell him, I'm hungry. And he could go, okay, let me figure out, do you want fondue or pizza? He could say that, but if he goes, Sophie, not today. I'm like, okay, yeah, you're right. Of course I can take care of my own food. Right? So it's not a demand, it's an invitation. And then if he does have the space to respond to my hungry plea, great, delightful, yummy. And if he doesn't, I can take care of myself. He can come to Daiki or not. Both of those cases, I will be okay. So this is where actually the foundation of the strong independent woman helps us. Because from the my strong independent woman period, I know I can do it. I have that self-reliance. But it's so yummy when he wants to step in. So yummy. Okay. Number 4. I'm watching my time. We'll get there. Number 4 is an impatience. So I know myself, and I've seen it in many, many people I work with, I'm sure many people here. The moment he isn't doing it perfect, we collapse very quickly. So let's say you notice he isn't fully present with you on a date. The moment you notice that, you're like, the same what I said earlier, I'm harsh. So the moment I notice him wavering, or I notice that he isn't super present, or he isn't really receiving me, or isn't really seeing me, the moment it happens, I'm like, never mind, screw you. It's so quick. And this impatience is often a sign of our wound, not our power. We think it's powerful because I'm standing up for how I wanted to be treated, but it's actually a sign of our wound rather than our power, because our power isn't impatient. Our truth isn't impatient. Our wound, our pain is impatient. So what we get to practice here is, maybe the next time you notice that, oh, he's not being present with me, or oh, he didn't say what to have for dinner. Take a breath. Let him off the hook for just a couple of breaths. And see if you can partner with him. Because he's also human, just like you. And maybe he had a really long day and he's tired and he can't do the dinner right now. Okay, how can I partner with him rather than have this exchange of who he needs to be for me and I need to be for him? So this is where we get to bring our feminine, the expression of love, of how can I love this person right now? They're not present. I love for them to be present. He's not. What does he actually need? Oh, he needs to hear that I really appreciate him, doesn't he? Okay. So it's a shift of, I'm not getting from you, which there's legitimacy in it. There's always. But it's a shift from I'm not getting from you to partnering as us. And the feminine's really good at bringing that energy, actually. That's our gift to the space often. Yeah. I see this beautiful comment. I did learn that statement last year. Which statement? And have noticed that shift in my husband when I ask if we can make dinner and clean up together. When I ask if we can make dinner and clean up together. Yeah. Okay. Last one. Who here has had a relationship or is in a relationship or a lovership where you think, oh, if only he went to men's group, if only he did a tantra workshop, if only he read David Data, if only he did this, he would be great. And we tell him, we're like, oh, you should do that meditation course, or you should read this Wave the Superior Man, or you should do that energy circulation. One of the things that will shut a masculine down so quick, even if you have all the answers, even if your answers are right, is you trying to teach him, is you trying to get him to step up. Because again, he isn't free. And the moment he isn't free, his whole system goes. The other one is he can't feel your heart. And when he can't feel your heart, he goes, nope, not doing that. I'm actually preparing a reel on this because Tamara once in a call explained really beautifully what he needs in those moments. Because for instance, I would love for him to join a men's group. And so during a live call, I asked him, so instead of me telling you I want you to join a men's group, what do you actually need from me? And he goes, I need your yearning and I need you to not give me the solution. So he said, your yearning is beautiful. Your yearning that you desire me to be more, whatever that means. Your desire for me to be held by others. All of that is beautiful. I want to feel that. I want to feel that you yearn for more of my sexual energy. I want to. I want to hear that. But let me find the solution. And this is really the core of everything that we went through right now. It's expressing the feeling and not the solution. Because in all of these things that we just discussed, there is a part of you that thinks, I have the solution, I know how to do it. There's nothing wrong with that. You feel that. But if you desire kind of this more feminine energy space, there's something we get to own on our parts, on how we are communicating and how we are relating, so that there's more to step into and to actually see that we're being led home. Because in all of this, it's about, oh, can you drop into your heart? I want to feel that. I want to feel your yearning. And I want something to step into. I want to figure out the best solution. And you might think that's men's circles. For me, it's actually, I don't know, that I go for a long weekend away. Whatever, right? Let me find my solution myself. Okay. Time. So this is where I paralyze. That's what I'd love for you to take from today. It is that the things the masculine is calling us into is actually leading us home, and we do it the other way around as well. We don't have enough time to talk about that today, but this happens equally. So I'm calling him home and he's calling me home. I invite you just to close your eyes for one brief moment before I let you go. Taking a really deep breath and allowing that breath to drop you deeper down into your body, down into your pelvis, down into your legs. A little sigh. I want you to feel just for one light bulb for today. What's the one thing you're taking with you today? I feel for that one light bulb. And with that, trusting that that is enough. This is not something you get to ace or need to be a good girl at. One light bulb is more than enough. And that exhale, letting it all go. I'd love to, for my last minute with you, to hear in the chat what your light bulb is. The masculine's calling me into what I can actually lead me home. Yeah. Yeah. And vice versa. You're leading him home. Yeah. Letting him find his way. Expressing the feeling, not giving the solution. Not a conditional surrender. Yeah. So next time you feel your shadow come up, one of these shadows we talked about, I invite you to do a shadow brag. So I do this with myself. I'll literally say, "Oh, I did it again. I didn't trust his guidance again," and I brag about it as if like, "Oh, I'm." It's I don't know if you know the book Existential Kink, but it's one of the best books I've ever read. It's almost the saying like, "I was such a naughty little girl because I did it again." These shadows, they will all come up. They will keep coming up. They come up for me too, and it's more about starting to see them and actually having a giggle about them. So, whatever you learn today, next time, this is what I wish for you, that you just think, there I went again. Didn't trust scar directions. How cute am I? Oh, I can also take a breath and just lean back. Yeah. Bye, darlings. Thank you so much. Thank you, Tanya. Thank you all for being here and playing with me. This was so delightful. And you can always find me on Instagram, Sophie Josephina, and would love to hear how things land. My darlings.
Thank you so much. That was so
On
powerful.
the dot. I love my inner dude is like, fuck yes.
Thank you so much. That landed deeply, and I'm sure it will land even more after this call. It was really powerful. I love you and
I
your
love you
work.
so much, baby. Have so much fun. Enjoy, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.